America needs a tidal wave of the old-time religion.
I have sinned against you.
How dare you!
We have no need to doubt God.
The harlot Babylon is preparing the nations to receive the Antichrist.
I didn't even build that house with money from the church. I built it with money from my book. I don't make this stuff up.
Repenting of your sin.
It is a moral issue.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil.
I just enjoy seeing people worship, praising God.
Hey everybody, and welcome to
Believe It
or Not,
the show where we believe it
or not,
or don't,
or not,
or not. Sorry,
or don't,
or no, it's not.
Once there was,
and then there were none.
Then there were none
beliefs. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
Not for a dang second.
Not for a dang second.
Or damn, whatever you prefer.
I prefer damn it. God damn it.
God damn it. Not for a god damn it second.
Yeah. I recently released my video on the third commandment.
Mm-hmm. I did see that, yes. Sorry.
And
for doing that, God.
I'm so sorry.
Apologize. The Lord.
So me and my brother, like, after he saw it, we just had a full conversation and
I think it was like a construction thing slamming down,
right,
but it sounded like an explosion outside.
But we've been talking in OMGs and oh my gods and god damn it's and just slipping them in there. It's been fun. It's been fun.
When you were a kid, how did you feel about that? I'm sure you were very
we were very much against taking the Lord's name in vain. We weren't as bad with as some Christians with the replacement ones. Like we wouldn't get in trouble for saying gosh.
Do people get in trouble for that? Really?
Any sort of replacement, you can't even hint at taking the Lord's name in vain.
Okay.
Like if I saw a guy get in trouble once for saying cheese on rice because
really?
Because it was obvious he was trying to say Jesus Christ.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I find, I also just find it just so goofy and lame when you do those kind of replacement ones anyway.
Yeah.
And I understand why they have them, sure.
Yeah.
At the very least for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. But at the same time, it's hilarious to get in trouble for saying cheese on rice.
Yeah.
Also, cheese on rice.
Yeah.
I guess risotto.
Yeah.
Okay. I changed my mind. I'm back.
Back in the New York, however that song goes.
I don't know.
So, how was your August?
It's been good. Pretty, pretty chill. We had Fan Expo recently, so that was fun.
You went to that.
We did go to that. We were there with the Canadian Podcasting Awards. Okay, very lovely people. Love to hang out there at the booth, but not there as long and as involved as we usually are, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because there was no sonar booth this year.
No sonar booth, no. But no, it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I realized, I think, last year, maybe the year before, that the crowd's too much for me at Fan Expo.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I'll probably make another appearance.
Yeah, you should. Year. You should come by. Just come by, relax, and leave when you're ready to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way to do it. Don't get pulled into anything.
Yeah, I saw a lot of cool pictures though from people on the Facebooks.
Yep,
some of the cosplay.
Yeah, always some nice cosplay. I didn't get to walk around as much this time as I usually did, so didn't see as much as I wanted, but I did see some cool things.
Did you see my cousin Kathy? Did you run into her?
What did they dress up?
I don't remember.
Oh, maybe I did.
Yeah.
I might have talked to them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She usually works at the Doctor Who booth.
Oh, we were right beside the Doctor Who booth.
Nice. Yeah, we usually are. It's weird.
So I probably did see them. That's so funny. They were right beside us.
Yeah.
They were playing music. This is my one gripe with the Doctor Who booth, okay? Yeah. They were playing music, and it was maybe a 4-song playlist the whole day.
Not cool.
They played the same Spice Girl song.
Wait, the Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because it was used in a recent Doctor Who episode. That's why. But yeah.
They must have played it in the first 3 hours that I was there. I probably heard it 8 or 9 times.
Ridiculous.
At least. I wasn't.
There's so many Doctor Who soundtracks,
and there was 4 or 5 songs that they were switching between.
Yeah.
So that was something.
I'll talk to her.
And then it was always funny too because we were trying to talk to someone, and then they would come on with is it the Dalek? voice, the mic, where I was like, come to the Doctor Who booth to donate to Sick Kids Hospital and eradicate childhood cancer. And we're like, I'm trying to talk and I can't hear anything because it's just so loud. I'm like, yes, I understand you're doing a raffle for sick kids. That's great.
But I just don't think the Daleks would care.
Well, yeah. Well, they're looking to eradicate childhood cancer.
Yeah.
But they do want to eradicate still. So it is violent.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it violently. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Me too. Well, should we talk about the news?
Yeah, let's talk about it. There's been some fun stuff this month.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. In Oklahoma, they're saying, hey, you got to teach the Bible in your classrooms. But now that classes are starting, teachers are saying, no, we're not going to do that. So there's a lot of pushback there, which is good, which will probably result in some lawsuits. And the only problem is that the Supreme Court sucks right now. Yep. So they got to get on impeaching those bastards. But
this still, like, I understand it is because of their belief system or whatever, their dogma. But this drive to push... because you would always hope there's a separation of church and state. There never is, but you'd hope there is. Why there's such a push to put this into the schools, where it's like, don't you already have places where you teach this?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you go to church for? Isn't that what you send kids to Sunday school for?
Exactly.
Isn't that why you have youth groups? Isn't that why you have Bible studies?
Yeah.
You have this shit already.
Yeah.
Why do you need to put it in the schools?
exactly.
Is it just kind of like them trying to like counterpoint and one up the like evolution and science-based things and stuff? Is it just trying to negate that and push it out?
Yeah, and it's schools have been used as a political pawn to get power for so long, right?
For sure.
That people start believing the message. So like what the whole argument has always been, like, once they took the Bible at a school or once they took prayer at a school, the whole country's gone to shit.
Right.
So a lot of people think that like you have to get the prayer back in school and the Bible back in school in order to fix this country, which is so ridiculous. Like, do something about like.
Yeah, it was so great before when, like 1 in 3 children died in childbirth.
Yeah.
And all the women died.
Yeah.
And then there was slavery, and the average lifespan was like 40.
Yeah, with smallpox,
and then
blankets,
diseases,
and
famine.
Yeah.
There were no workers' rights. You know, you had children working in mines. Yeah. But we got to get back to the good old days.
The good old days.
Yeah,
Prayer in school.
Yeah, where you could own people and beat your children to death and get away with it.
Yeah, it's this false narrative. Even in my recent video, there was a clip of Ray Comfort talking about how before the sexual revolution, people obeyed the 10 Commandments. And so before the 1960s, this country was so much better because people obeyed the 10 Commandments and they didn't take the Lord's name in vain.
Right.
Where it's like, no, that's just like this idealized version of what America used to be. It's this like Norman Rockwell version of
They just hit it better.
Was. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. You had to act a certain way and people whitewash history and
The thing I find hilarious about that is you watch any Western, let's say, any Western. What's there's like 3 big things that I think you see. You see like gunfights, saloons, and prostitutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what? Following the 10 Commandments there? I don't know. There's drinking, gambling, murder, and prostitution.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's really, following the 10 Commandments per se. And I guess it was the Wild West, but I mean, it's still like you can't say like before this we were a great country. Well,
exactly.
A big part of what built that country, and you're showing this side of it. So I don't know.
Yep.
Not that I'm saying any of that was bad. I'm just saying counterpoint to their argument.
Yeah, exactly. And it's ridiculous. And then the 10 Commandments thing still going back and forth in Louisiana with the 10 Commandments in classrooms. And one of the things, so the governor said that if they don't like the 10 Commandments in their classroom, they don't have to look at it.
What?
Yeah. They have to put this poster of the 10 Commandments up with huge font. But Jeff Landry's like, no, if you don't like it, you don't have to look at it.
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. It's,
My thing about that is, then why does it need to be there?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, don't worry. You don't have to look at it. Then why do we need it?
Yeah.
Why do we need a law mandating this then?
Yeah, exactly. watch a video real quick.
Oh no.
About you were asking about why they want this, and it's Christian nationalism.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what it is.
for
They want
sure.
their-
I mean, I know why.
Yeah.
I know why. But outside of the just trying to push a narrative, it's also like, I guess more I wonder why the people who aren't, like the average Joe cares about it more.
Exactly.
But I feel that way about most of these things. We're just like, why do you care about this?
Yeah.
You know, like it's the same thing with like immigration or like gay people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, why do you care?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you in any way. You're probably never going to meet most of these people, and that they're not affecting your life in any way.
Yeah.
Why do you care?
They're not making you do gay stuff.
No.
If you're like, oh, so many gay people around that it makes me want to be gay, you're probably just gay.
And you know what? I kind of think of that as a good thing.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
think
kind of like, hey, this is an alternative lifestyle to what I think is the norm.
Yeah.
And it's something that actually I subscribe to.
Yeah.
And maybe I can finally be who I truly am.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of faking it.
Yeah, all these guys making me want to suck dicks.
Yeah, they're making you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They're so militant.
This is what's the opposite of friend of the show? I guess foe of the show.
Enemy.
Enemy of the show.
Rival?
Joel Webbin. I can't stand this man, but he keeps
Arch
popping up.
nemesis.
Arch nemesis Joel Webbin. He wants to ban public displays of worship to false gods.
Okay.
From Right Wing Watch.
But then, can we pause this for a
Yeah.
second? He wants to ban public displays of worship to false gods. If you're not a Christian, though, can you not argue that the Christian gods and worship displays are false gods then?
Not if
so,
it's
like,
a
legally,
Christian nation.
but I'm
Yeah.
saying, legally
Oh, yeah.
speaking,
Legally, yeah.
could you not then make that argument?
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
they would have to take it down.
Except they wouldn't, according to this guy, because
I know they wouldn't, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, isn't this just
Exactly.
setting yourself up for having your shit taken down?
Yeah, it's
Like, or it should. It should.
It really should.
But I don't know if it will.
There's not a lot of logic in their brains.
No. Okay, sorry.
I think
Let's
all
watch
these
the video.
commandments should be legislated and enforced, but in terms of how do we deal with our unbelieving neighbors in a manner that is fitting to the Christian gospel, I think the way that you do that is, again, a clear delineation between sins and crimes. And again, how to answer that question, this isn't the only metric, but I think a primary metric is public versus private. So as it pertains to the first table of the law of God, the first 10 commandments, and our vertical obligation, moral obligation to God, loving the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Back to the coveting police, and then just police in general, I would not have a government police system that's going into private homes of Muslims or Jews or Hindus and trying to catch them, in the mid-family worship as they're bowing down to some idol. I think that would be incredibly inappropriate and a breach of the sanctity of individual privacy. And that it would be the government stepping outside of its jurisdiction that God has given. However, I would be comfortable saying there will be no Islamic parades. Like, for instance, in Minnesota,
No Islamic parades.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, it's just like you're bringing up the fact that you're like, they can do whatever they want. They can worship whatever they want. I'm not going to ruin the sanctity of that. But
Yeah.
they can't bring it around out town like I do.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
does he want there to be no Christmas parades?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That, Islamic, 5 times a day, public calls to prayer. I would say you can have church bells, Christian church bells, that everyone in town can hear, including the non-Christians, and they just have to kind of put up with it. It's not, unnecessarily antagonistic. We're church bells, not church sirens, so you're not going out of your way to be a jerk. It's a pleasant sound, but it is a publicly, universally heard sound throughout the day by all the citizens, whether they're Christian or not. But you could not have Islamic siren, calls to prayer, even if they were pretty. You still couldn't have them because allowing for private worship in the home of a Muslim would be permissible. But public displays of worship to false gods that's erecting high places in a nation to false gods, and God will not bless that.
So why don't you leave that up to God to decide?
Yeah.
It's none of your fucking business what people do, and such a double standard.
Yeah.
But like, that's God's problem.
Yeah.
That's God's
And the
problem.
thing is, he doesn't care that it's a double standard because he wants a theocracy. He wants the government to control people's lives and control, like, he's saying he doesn't want to control how people worship, but you can't have a parade on a holiday. You can't, like, how are church bells different than a call to prayer? Right.
Is this another person who doesn't actually believe in any of this and just trying to find ways to sow dissent and get people angry about things that kind of overshadow the real issues that they're trying to push?
I think this guy is all in. I think he really,
because you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of these political and religious leaders push a lot of the stuff like with immigration, with LGBTQ plus rights, with things like this, with other things. It always seems to be one of those things that's just, and to a certain extent, racial issues as well.
Yeah.
As kind of like a smoke screen and a dog whistle to like distract the people and get them angry about something while they do all the other shit that they really want to do on the side.
Yeah. Like, this is a guy, like, these ideas are something Trump would latch onto if he thought it would get him power.
Right.
But I think this guy is like, no,
Full in.
This is like, he's a pastor at a church as well. And like, I had to watch so much of his podcast for a segment I ended up cutting from the last video. And he's just like, just the worst.
Is his beard real? It looks like a fake beard.
Yeah, I think it's the Nazi beard. So I think they...
Wait, what?
You know, those right-wing, like, alt-right guys all have that beard now, and it's very, like, clean cut, so they probably just shave, like, with...
Maybe, yeah. It just seems unusually filled in.
Yeah, it really does.
But I don't know. This is just a bad quality video, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But
it does.
Not to, like, body shame. It seemed like a fake beard.
It's definitely a better beard than anything I've ever grown.
Yeah, I mean, as me having a very loose, patchy beard, I'm not one to judge, but...
And I'll put my beard on the screen. What Cody used to be like, oh, yeah, sir, I can see right through your beard there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a piece of crap.
Garbage person. But yeah, so they don't care about other religions' rights.
Of course not.
They just
Why would
want
they?
their religion to be
number
front
one.
and center.
We're number one.
Yeah. And they're coming after our children in order to do it, like we said with the Bible in classroom, the 10 Commandments in classroom. We also have in Kentucky.
Well, the Christians have always been coming for the children.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
They always have, especially
on and in them.
Yeah. Hello.
You can keep that in, cut it out. I don't care.
It'll tie into something later,
I'm
so
sure.
we'll keep it in.
Oh, no, okay.
If Amendment 2 passes, this is from the Friendly Atheist, if Amendment 2 passes, Kentucky would waste taxpayer dollars on religious schools. So they would take money from public schools and give them to religious schools.
We have that problem here.
Yes, we do.
So,
yep. And it needs to end.
Yeah, there's no reason to have a Catholic school system here.
No.
No reason.
No, not at all.
It's silly.
It is very silly.
Get rid of it.
You didn't go to Catholic school, did
No.
you? No.
No, God, no.
Me neither. I went to Christian school, though, till grade 6, but my parents had to pay for that out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And
as you should.
Cleaning the toilets.
As you should. If you're going to fund Catholic schools, you realistically should fund all other religious schools. But I don't think we should have any religious schools, to be honest.
No.
I think that should be a separate thing from the school system.
Yeah, I don't think any taxpayer money definitely should go towards Christian school or religious schools, but I think that there should be something. I honestly think it would be better if just everybody went to public school, but
yes,
that's just my thought. And then have your extra stuff, have your little, because I think, the rich would care more about the quality of the public school if there was no private schools, and religious people, they would be annoying, but I just think it'd be better if everyone was in public schools.
They would be annoying, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have kids, because all the annoying people.
Yeah. And then coming after our kids still in Canada, we got Danielle Smith and all the other awful premiers of provinces.
Yeah, we seem to have a glut of them right now.
We really do. We got one here in Ontario. Alberta is Danielle Smith, and she is trying to push legislation that you are required to, if a student wants to change their pronouns, they have to have parental permission.
Right.
Which can be very dangerous and will make it not safe for trans kids.
This is one of those things that, again, it's like, what harm is this doing to anybody?
Yeah.
Like, are you, if someone requests is like, hey, I prefer to be called like, you know, Dave instead of David, you're fine with that. You don't need, you don't have to like call the parents and be like, David told us he prefers to be called Dave. We're going to need you to sign off on that. Yeah. So if they're just like, can you just call me they, them, please? Yeah. Why do we need to involve the parents with that?
Yeah. Well, it's like my uncle who dead named my sister. Yeah. He wasn't born with the name he has. He was born in Holland. He had a Dutch name.
Right.
And then when they came to Canada, he changed it to an English name. Yeah. How do you not get that people can just...
Well, it's the same with anything, like any nickname, anything like that. All of those like pronouns and stuff like that, as much as like they're constantly... Well, I saw something too where it was saying like, you know, if you're buying into this like idea of masculinity, you're doing these things, whatever, you're getting gender affirming care by doing all that stuff, you know, and you're requesting people to call you these things that you want to be called. Yeah. So how is it any different just because it doesn't, I don't know, align with what you think someone should be?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Silly.
Yeah.
Where, you know, looking even at the recent Olympic scandal with the Algerian boxer who ended up winning gold, and then the transphobia with that and everything.
Yeah. And I want to say
someone who isn't even trans.
Yeah. Yeah. That was part of the motivator for the fight with my family, is the discussion about her, and I just want to point out too, Richard Dawkins is an asshole.
Yeah, I've been seeing more of that too. Yeah. A lot of people I used to really like are coming out as just being old assholes, and I wonder if it's just they're getting old and a little senile, or if they've always felt this way.
Yeah, he's just because even with the church bell thing and versus the call to prayer, he actually said a couple years ago that church bells are beautiful and stuff, and calls to prayer are ugly, and we should have church bells, but we shouldn't. Like,
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I fucking hate church bells too.
Yeah.
They piss me off so much. I don't want to hear any bells. I don't give a shit about your friggin' church.
Yeah.
They're annoying.
There's a reason our phones are on silent.
Yeah. You ever sit with somebody whose phone isn't on silent? It's like, what are you doing? It drives me nuts. Cody does that a lot, actually. Sorry, Cody. I'm calling you out again.
I had a friend, and this is when people first started having, like, where it was started becoming normal that everyone had a cell phone.
Yeah.
I'm old. So when I got my first cell phone and my friend got his first cell phone, we found fun ringers or whatever.
Sure. You always want a fun ringer, but then you don't.
You don't. And he found one, and it was a dance song. I don't remember what song it was, but it was fun to dance to. The dumb idiot. Every time his phone would ring, he would start dancing and singing along and miss the call.
That's pretty funny, though.
Yeah.
My thing, too, it's not just the notifications. It's the tapping, clicking noise.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that. Turn it off.
Turn it off.
You don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Get that shit out of there.
This is the pet peeve section of the show where we talk about things we don't like.
Should we just do a podcast about pet peeves?
Griefs and grievances.
You know what I hate is the poor.
Why don't they just get a job?
Yeah.
Is there truly any Christian belief that actively says you can't acknowledge a trans person's identity?
The thing is, the Bible doesn't say anything about trans people. And the other thing is, too, at the time of the New Testament, eunuchs were considered the third sex.
Right.
And the Bible very specifically says that eunuchs are fully welcome.
Okay.
So the Bible seems to be pro-trans, the New Testament anyway.
Right.
It's not as pro-women, but...
Well, that's the thing that I don't get. Like, I don't think there's nothing explicitly saying no to trans people, nothing explicitly saying no to gay people, other than the one about that really vague one about a man lying with a man. But there's a lot of context that's misconstrued in that, right? And it's just kind of used.
Yeah.
So I find it hilarious that they're bringing legal grounds about it, where it's just like there's nothing that explicitly is saying this other than your Christian leaders telling you to believe this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's another political pawn, just like gay people have always been a political pawn. Trans people are coming more and more as they need a new scapegoat to blame everything on. It's immigrants and trans people and still gay people. They still get blamed for stuff, but
Yeah, you got to love the immigrant hate in a country built on immigrants.
Yeah.
It's the irony is so lost on people.
Yeah.
I don't it's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you think this nation was founded?
Yeah.
Both ours, really.
Yeah.
Stealing the land from the people who were here.
Yeah.
And then pouring in a bunch of immigrants.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's been a part of Canadian history to hate immigrants. It's been a part of American history to hate immigrants. It's like,
well, that's what Border Patrol and the Mounted Police were there for, too, is for racism and hating immigrants.
Yeah. You know that the RCMP is active in Israel.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, in the West Bank, they're helping our police force that our tax dollars goes towards are helping create illegal settlements in the West Bank.
Yep. Genocide in the Middle East.
Yeah. Thanks, Canada.
Yeah. It's nice that we support that for some reason.
Yeah. Pope Francis says that future priests should read poetry and fiction.
I love the idea of future priests.
Yeah.
They're like these robotic priests that the Vatican's building out who read poetry. Where can we get a future priest?
Yeah. The Futurama has to have done it.
I have absolved you of your sins.
Yeah. Oh, no, they have done it. Yeah.
And then they shoot you with lasers. If you sin too much.
It would probably be like a brain scan thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where they make it so that you can't do this sin again.
Right. Oh, it like lobotomizes you?
Oh, but that would be interfering with your free will, so maybe they wouldn't. Yeah, they just shoot you with lasers.
Interesting.
But what I think he should have done is like, read poetry and fiction. That's good. But also don't fuck kids.
Yeah, I think there are better things you should be mandating.
Yeah.
Also, do priests do they just not read?
Yeah.
Or like consume
I think they
other media or anything? That seems like a weird thing. It's like, you don't think that they already do?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's dangerous to write off literature as a minor art as it offers an antidote to obsession with screens and nurtures human sympathy. What? So he's just saying that all the priests are too busy playing Candy Crush on their phones?
I guess so.
And doom scrolling too. Yeah. That's really funny. Or they're on like dating apps and stuff.
Yeah. I think reading is great, and I think everyone should, read novels and stuff.
Yeah.
But I find it annoying when people think that reading a novel is good, but watching a movie is like rotting your brain.
Right. I mean, there's something to be. Yeah, again, it's the whole thing where they say like, "Oh, nobody talks anymore; they're all on their phones," and then they'll show photos of everybody reading a newspaper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, there are issues with the amount of screen time that we have nowadays, and we don't know the long-lasting psychological effects of it.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's as blown out of a problem as some of these people make it out to be.
No. And a lot of times people are stuck on their phone or talking to somebody they love.
Sure. Or maybe they're reading an article.
Yeah.
Maybe they're educating themselves about something.
Maybe they're reading a book.
Yeah, true. Have you heard of it?
Heard of it?
Electronic books?
Yeah. I call them EBs.
Ebbs.
Ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. Pompei.
Should we watch another video?
Yeah, let's watch a video.
Let's go with Jack Hibbs.
Jack Hibbs.
Pastor Jack Hibbs.
Okay.
Another political one.
Okay.
Also from Right Wing Watch.
I really like the warning it gives you.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's and to God the things that are God's. Meaning California belongs to God. Caesar belongs to God. The presidency of the United States belongs to God, as does the crown of England belong to God. Those are secular institutions. Of course I understand that. Under the sovereignty of God. Meaning, God raises them up and God takes them down. How does he do that? He does it by war. He does it by intrigue. He does it by voting. I have so much more respect for Democrats.
What? So he's saying God is he's the mastermind behind everything. He's a Democrat. He's promoting democracy. So by that logic, then, if things are passed and voted, say about, rights of people or immigration, then that's God's doing. And you shouldn't fucking complain about it.
And it's
right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the worst interpretation I've ever heard of render to Caesar what is Caesar's.
Right.
To say that verse means that because Caesar belongs to God, that we should reach out to God. That was not what Jesus was saying. Jesus was saying, pay your taxes. Like, as a way, and he was doing it in a clever way as because there was a lot of like hate against tax collectors at the time, but also he didn't want to get arrested for telling people not to pay their taxes. So he did it in a clever way.
Right.
But that is not the interpretation that anyone ever intended by render to Caesar's what is Caesar.
What I find interesting too, if you're saying that God owns everything and controls everything or whatever, then where's the hubris in you trying to push these things for God?
Exactly.
It's his stuff. He's dealing with it. Why does it mean that you have to go do this? Shouldn't you trust in your God to take care of these things and to do the right thing?
Exactly.
In that sense, it's the thing I find so funny is the insecurity and this constant need to push these agendas that they are being told that need to push, where it's just like, well, if you believe in the power and the omnipotence and the strength of your God, why do you have to fight for these things as hard as you do?
Yeah.
And why are you so threatened by everything that you deem not a part of this doctrine, whether it is or not?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I don't get. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. Why do you care so much about this stuff outside of wanting to have some sort of political control?
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about, I mean, Jack Hibbs has probably always been a Christian nationalist, but like all these guys are coming out of the woodwork and I mean, they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose. I hope they're going to lose.
I mean, not to profile, but so far they've only been older white men.
Yeah.
So far. I mean, a couple of white guys right here. Sorry.
One of us is old. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, right? There's definitely a theme with these guys. Yeah. And you wonder how much of it is also rooted in a certain other theme that's very long-standing in both of our countries.
Yeah. Racism?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That's it.
That's what I meant. Yeah. I don't know if you could call that a theme, but
I think it's
you know what I mean.
Running
right?
theme and
More respect for Democrats who go out and vote in huge numbers for their sick, perverse ideology, their godless platform. I have more respect for them.
They're godless, but they vote, goddammit.
Yeah. They vote for their sick, perverse platforms like wanting equal rights.
Yeah.
And
to be treated as a human being.
Yeah.
To be able to love the people they love.
To make choices about their own bodies.
To not be beaten in the street by police officers and mobs.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Perverse.
Those poor perverts. Sick, delusional people.
Disgusting.
Oh, my God.
Because that's their religion, by the way. Government, politics is their religion. They don't have a God.
No, it's not.
For most of them, it's Christianity, actually.
But even still, it's not their religion.
No, not at all.
That's government. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah. People tell me everything's my religion. I'm told all the time that science is my religion.
No.
I've never once prayed to science.
No.
I don't have a little statue of Albert Einstein.
A lack of religion does not mean that you have to replace it with something else.
Exactly.
It does not mean that there is an alternative where another thing has to fulfill the role of what religion is.
Yeah.
No. And just because you are filling the role of what religion does with other things does not make those things religion.
Exactly.
That's not how it works.
No,
That's not what these things are. Atheism is not a religion.
No.
It's the lack of it.
Yeah, and the thing is too with atheism, I get that all the time. Atheism means your religion, and then
No,
they
it's
go
not.
on to say like you believe we came out of nothing. It's like, okay, that's not atheism.
No, that's
Yeah.
Believing something is not a religion.
Yeah.
necessarily.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's just like I believe the bus is going to come on time. That's not a religion.
no. It's
Or I guess I believe it's not going to come
Yeah.
on time.
Yeah,
That's not a
exactly.
religion. That's just a belief.
exactly.
Why does that have to be equated to a religion just
Yeah.
because you're insecure about yours and you think that somebody else's belief system is going to negate or belittle your own faith?
Yeah, exactly.
It's back to fear.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like when people say like this is their religion,
Sure.
are you saying that's bad that they have a religion?
Well, they probably because it's not the right one.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And again, that's just like, why are you so afraid of this? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what you believe.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. The problem is when it's stuff like this where it starts affecting people's lives.
Yeah.
When you're starting to push your beliefs on other people, when you're starting to make your ideologies interfere with the lives of other people, when you're damaging people, where you're killing people through your actions.
Yeah, exactly. And when so you demonize people who vote differently than you.
Yes.
And then because you say they're evil, and a lot of times they say they want to murder babies or whatever it is. And then so people can't. It stops people from thinking rationally about the issues. It stops people from like actually looking at what abortion is, for example, or how gay marriage affects them, or how a trans person existing affects them, and they don't take the time to actually think about the issues because they go to a church with a guy like this as their pastor who's telling them that it's black and white. It's you either vote Republican or you're a demon.
Which is also fucking stupid.
Yeah.
This whole us versus them thing. It doesn't serve anybody but people in power who want to push these agendas.
Yeah.
That's the only people that it serves.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to have differing opinions. It's okay to have these things. You're going to vote for who you're going to vote for based on a lot of those things.
Yeah.
But as soon as you make it my team versus their team, that's when the problems happen.
Exactly.
Because then you're not thinking critically about anything. No. The only thing you're thinking about is how can I win and how can I fuck them?
Yeah.
And then when you get to a situation where one team does win, you're never working in a place to work together in order to achieve things. All you're trying to do is, which we saw a lot with some of the Republican Party over the last few years, like Mitch McConnell, that piece of shit, and a lot of the stuff he's done over the years, where you're just trying to railroad the other side and stop things from actually getting done.
I think, Mitch McConnell is probably one of the most dangerous things that has ever happened to the United States with the way he changed politics and the way, he's one of the most dangerous people.
It's just such a gross abuse of power.
Yeah.
And and all it's doing is driving further like voter apathy, which all of that is doing is pushing it even further into this extreme side of things that we have.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, get out and vote.
Yep. Get out and vote. Yeah.
Please vote.
And I'm going to talk about it more in my next
vote.
video, even though it's not the topic.
I know.
No. I mean, like, but yeah, I think we should talk about it here too, because we have somewhat of a different audience, but like,
sure.
Go out and vote, and it's not just voting for the political leader. I get why some people may not love Kamala.
Sure.
But it's also about voting down ballot and voting like... Because, change happens when people do things, and there's a lot of things that happen at the municipal level and happen at the political, I was going to say provincial, or at the state level, and
both sides. But it's one of those things too. Like I understand it. I understand the apathy, or even just like I don't know anything about politics. I don't want to know anything about politics. Great. To a certain degree, sure. But there are so many resources now. There are so many things that you can do. There are websites where you can fill in, like, there's full surveys where you're like, this is what I think. This is what I like. Do I agree with this? Do I disagree with this? It'll give you a breakdown of what parties you should maybe look into.
Yeah.
do that.
Do that.
Do one of
Exactly.
those. Do that as a jumping off point. And you're like, oh, I fall along these party lines. Maybe I should look into more of what some of their things are and who the individuals are and some of the things they're pushing and what I find important. That's such a great start to just start educating yourself, bare minimum, so that way you can go out there and actually make a decision that you feel good about.
Yeah. I think being apolitical is scary. I mean, you do you, boo.
Sure.
But being apolitical feels like the safe way, the safe route.
Yeah.
And we don't get.
But it's not though. It's apathy. All it is apathy.
Yeah.
And apathy doesn't really help anyone, and it doesn't help you.
No.
And it's especially hard to justify being apathetic when children are dying.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So.
At the hands of abortion clinics. So we need you to go out and protest.
That's what I was going. Oh man, you fucking turned that around on me.
JK.
Oh my God. No, I think there should be more abortions. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every day.
Every day.
There should be 100 of them every day.
Yep. I don't want to watch any more of Jack Hibbs.
No, I don't either.
I think that's it for our news portion of the time.
Wow, we did it.
We did it. And now we're going to thank some patrons.
Oh, let's thank them.
Oh my God! Wow! Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow, we have a bunch of thank yous today. A lot of shout outs.
You gotta shout them out.
You gotta
shout them up from the rooftop.
I was gonna say mountaintop, but
or the mountaintop.
You can go low if you want.
What is a rooftop but a mountain that man built?
Amen.
Amen.
Especially if it's a rooftop on a mountaintop.
Whoa,
that's even higher.
Whoa, the hubris to build a mountain on a mountain. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Wow.
God would probably walk down and say, I'm going to change your language if you did that.
Yeah. Sorry, now you got to speak Portuguese.
Yep. Wow, that'd be cool.
To learn Portuguese?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. If God, you teach me to speak Portuguese.
Yeah. Or Klingon.
That'd be nice. Or Klingon, yeah. I'd be fine with Pig Latin.
Either one gets you the ladies.
I'd be fine with Pig Latin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too hard.
Too hard, yeah, true.
But let's thank some people. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart Might Still, Jesse, Alex, Phoenix Soul, and Not Sure. But I'm sure that I want to thank Not Sure. And
I want to thank, we talked a lot today about bells ringing, and that's why we got to thank our good friend Jeffrey. You know, just doing those 3-pointers for the Lord. Oh, you know what it is? Just ringing out, shouting it out there from the rooftops like we're doing all day today. We want to hear you across town, you know, when you're sinking those baskets, where you're dunking them for us. Oh, man, we're getting that crowd going. Yeah. We want a wave that goes across the whole country. Amen.
Basketball. And that's it for thank yous. Just kidding. Whispering Shadow. We didn't forget about you again. We'll never forget about Whispering Shadow, the greatest human being since human beings were invented by the Lord in Eden. It has been downhill since Adam, and then boom, up higher.
Right back up. That's why we built that mountain on top of the mountain, for you to get to the tippy top of that. We're sorry you got bureaucratically shuffled around a little bit there, but we finally kicked the crap out of those suits in the office. We said, listen here, you pencil neck geek, you're not going to push these people out of our line of sight. We're bringing them back into the light, and that's why we're here today.
That's why we're here. So Whispering Shadow got missed somehow.
We're sorry for that. It was not intentional. Well, it wasn't for me anyway. I don't know.
No, it wasn't intentional at first.
But then it became personal.
Yeah, then it became personal.
And then you realize the error of your ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So forgiveness.
And we all have forgiven each other, I hope.
In our hearts and our minds.
Yeah. Should we read the Bible?
Let's read the Bible.
What is this, Bible study?
Bible learning.
Is that from the Bible?
Don't do it, that's in the Bible.
The only lies worth believing are the ones in the Bible.
In the Bible!
The Bible? Ew.
Just a shorter bit today. we're continuing on, with Abraham and Isaac and all that stuff. And my thing that I've been noticing, there seems to be a trend with Abraham's family, because again, Isaac does that with his wife Rebecca.
Yeah.
They go somewhere and he's like, yeah, this is my sister, not my wife. Why do they keep doing this?
Yeah.
Why is this a recurring theme in this family?
Is a fetish.
Well, it's also like, well, I'm worried that they'll kill me because of my wife. But it's just like, why? Because they want to marry her?
Yeah, because she's so beautiful.
That they're going to kill you to marry her?
Yeah.
Right. But each time, because this happened again, and then the king's just like, hey, man, I saw you like groping up on her. I know it's your wife.
Yeah.
Why are you lying to us? And that happened with Abraham too. It was the same thing where it's just like, hey, man, I was going to fuck your sister, but then I found out it was your wife. Why are you doing this? This is kind of messed up.
Yeah.
And I just don't get why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
Once is weird enough, but twice in the same book seems excessive.
Yeah, and you got to think, whoever wrote that story, did they have was it a sister thing? Like, was it like a stepsis porn kind of
they would
situation?
have loved pornography.
They've had
in general.
Yeah,
and,
in general. Yeah.
And, the subcategories they're in.
You ever see ancient pornography?
Ancient stuff?
Well, like, I guess it's not super ancient. It's not this ancient, but
like the 90s? Or?
They did a thing at the ROM, at the Royal Ontario Museum, about Pompei a couple years ago. So they had all the people that they found, and then artifacts and stuff from Pompei. And they had a little like closed off section for like their
I didn't see this
sculptures.
Whoa!
And you better believe I went behind that curtain.
Well, that's like every like Roman statue. The wieners are broken off and stuff because people. Well, partly because they break off easy, but I think people also like they always touch them. They touch the boobs and the the wieners of every statue. It's crazy, but
human nature.
Human nature to like a boob and a butt and a wiener, I guess.
Yep.
So then like after that, it just gets weird and they kick him out, and then there's just fights over wells. And everyone's just like, no, that's our well. He's like, well, it's not. And then he builds another one. He's like, well, that's our well. He's like, well, it's not. But I mean, like, I'm parsing a lot of stuff because it's so much like just begat. And then Isaac's getting too old, and he basically tells it's what's his son? Esau? Is that his one son? Esau.
Yeah.
He's like, listen.
Oh, his brother Esau.
Isaac's two sons, Esau and Jacob.
And Esau, right. Isaac's son Esau. Yeah,
Esau's the older one, and he's just like, hey, I'm probably going to die soon. Go out, do all this stuff. Come back to me and I'll bless you. And then Rebecca overheard it, and I guess she just doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Because then she's like to Jacob, like, hey, do all this shit. Get some lambs, dress up like your brother, pretend that you're your brother to get the blessing. And he's like, I don't want to do that. And the mom's like, don't worry, bro. I'll take the badness. You got the good stuff.
And this was, as a Christian kid with a bunch of Christian home videos based on Bible stories, this is one of the most popular stories to tell to Christian kids.
Is it really?
Yeah. There was a Superbook episode about it. There was I think it was the Time Traveling House one. They did an episode about it. And then and they'd always have the stew. He was eating the stew, and then he sold his birthright.
But he didn't. But that's what I don't get. Like, is what was selling his birthright? Because he already gave the birthright to Jacob before.
Yeah.
This is another one at the deathbed where he just says, I'm going to bless you.
Yeah.
So he does all this stuff. He lies to him, and then he gets blessed with everything. And he's like, great.
Yeah.
And then Esau comes by, and he's just like, hey, Dad, I got all that stuff you asked me to do. And he's like, no, you didn't. You were just here. It's like, no, I wasn't. What are you talking about? And then he's like, oh, it was your dang brother. Well, too bad. I already blessed him with everything. Where it's
bless
like,
him twice.
You can't just say like, oh, I was tricked, so that doesn't count.
Yeah.
And I'll bless you now. All it's showing is just like, oh, if you can trick an old man into saying this stuff, then you win.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And then he's just like, well, what I can do is bless you to serve your brother. He doubles down.
Yep.
This is a good story?
It's a good story.
What am I fucking reading here?
It's how Jacob became Israel.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just like all it's reinforcing to me is that if you lie and you cheat and you steal, you win.
Yeah.
What? How is this a moral teaching? I'm genuinely confused, dumbfounded by this story. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
What is?
Don't be hairy.
I guess. Yeah. Don't be a hairy man who hunts and is a good person.
Have a favorite child.
Yeah. Is this going to come around and showing that Rebecca was wicked or something? No. So there's no consequences for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
The consequence is that Jacob becomes really rich and then starts a nation.
You just got to be there first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if you're first, you win.
Yeah. If you're not first, you're last.
So bizarre. I didn't have much more. It just got into like. Then there's like Rebecca's like, listen, Jacob, I don't want you to marry the Canaanite ladies here. I don't want you to do that.
So
and they did that with Abraham too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they sent him away, or Isaac sent him away to go marry someone.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh no, okay, well, go away. go marry my brother's daughter instead. So they send him away. And also because it's just like, listen, your brother's going to be pissed at you. You need to get out of here for a bit so he doesn't kill you. Wait until he forgets about it. Like, what?
We call that back home, we call that a husband.
Oh, my goodness. This is getting so hard to read just because I'm just so confused by everything. I don't understand the reasoning by it. I don't understand what it's trying to like show as a positive in any of this.
Oh, no.
It's all just so fucked up. It's all negative. It's all about cousin fucking. It's all about screwing people over. It's about how lying is good. And if you get there first, you win.
Yeah.
This is the Bible.
This is the Bible. Yeah.
People base their lives on this?
I guess so.
I guess I'm still early. I'm in the first few chapters, but like, come on.
Yeah.
What the hell? What?
Yeah.
Critical thinking is pissing me off right now.
Yeah.
I need to like tone it down a little bit, maybe. Maybe I just need to take it at face value and be like, yep, that's how you do it.
Yeah. We've had a few people comment on the fact that we're not taking a scholarly approach to the Bible.
But it wasn't written for scholars.
Exactly. And the other thing is, too, people always tell you to read the Bible. And people are always like, it's in the Bible. You just got to read it. And so we're just reading it.
It's the same thing. I mean, this happens with Shakespeare a lot, too. Yeah. It's one of those things where they're like, you're not examining it from a scholarly approach. But like, that's not how it was meant to be consumed. That's not the way it was written. Exactly. Shakespeare is something that was meant to be seen. It was meant to be watched and listened to as a play. It wasn't meant to be sat down and read and textually analyzed. Like, that's not how it was. This is a book of worship. It was something that was meant to be heard. It was something that meant to be experienced. And if you have to sit down and microanalyze every single word and passage in it, then is that truly doing the purpose of what it claims to be doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Should not the word of God be something that is obvious and apparent based on the things that it's putting out there and not some confusing riddle that you need to decode?
Yeah. And it's like, I get, it's an old book and there are things you have to look at from academic perspective, but that's not how people sell this book. So that's not how we're doing it. Like,
no.
And that's not how Christians approach it. They approach it from an apologetic standpoint, where they'll make arguments for things that don't work and why they work, but that's not a scholarly approach. That's just making excuses.
My issue with that, too, is do we not call this the Word of God, right? Do we call this the Word of God?
Yeah, I don't.
No, but I'm saying, they claim that the Bible is the Word of God and what is in it, and the Word of God is infallible, right?
Right.
So how can you take a scholarly approach to something that is infallible and the Word of God? By doing that, all you're doing is showing the infallibility of it and the the ability for everything to be misinterpreted that way, which makes something not infallible. Yeah, it makes it very fallible.
Exactly. And I think there are times where, and most times where it is very appropriate to take a scholarly look at the Bible and to study it that way.
Of course.
But I also think there is something to be said about just sitting down and reading it and talking about your first impressions. Because that's how they want people to read it. Yeah.
I also feel like I watch a lot of Dan McClellan. Yeah. And he's someone scholarly approach to the Bible. Yeah. So many of his videos are people who are claiming to be taking this route, and for someone who is actually a scholar of the Bible, breaking that down and saying like, well, actually you're misinterpreting these things. You're not actually looking at this from a scholarly point of view. Yeah. And you're misconstruing a lot of the points that are being made while also providing evidence that supports your worldview but is not actually supported by the facts.
Exactly.
So, as well too, we are not scholars.
Yeah.
I am not a scholar. Yeah. Trevor's not a scholar. He has a lot more knowledge and past resources with this. So I don't claim to be a scholar. I don't claim to be taking this from a scholarly approach.
Yeah.
I am purely reading this from my perception as a layman, as someone who has never read the Bible before, has only heard stories about it in my pop culture and my day-to-day life. So any interpretation, any views that I'm getting from it are purely my own.
Yeah.
And I am dumbfounded by most of what I'm seeing.
Yeah, exactly. So like and it's really great. I've been really enjoying seeing it from your perspective.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like we would watch kids videos about this stuff, and we would watch like
and I've seen a lot of that stuff too, and that's why I'm even more confused by some of it. But yes.
Yeah. I can't believe like I would read through the whole Bible as a Christian and not question my faith.
Right.
And I did that multiple times. I didn't question my faith while I read through the Bible. And like looking back at it now, some of the stuff in there, it's like I must have just been reading the words without thinking about it just so I could say I got through it.
I feel like that's what you kind of have to do. It almost is like you're just reading it for the sake of reading it without actually processing anything what you're reading. Because I think that's part of why it's taking me so long sometimes to get through this, is because I read stuff and I'm like processing it and I'm trying to figure out why these things are happening. Yeah. Like, what is the purpose of this? Yeah. What is this trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to find out about all these people who are just getting fucked over constantly?
Yeah.
Why do I have to read about 1 million people who are born that never come up to be?
Yeah.
Why do I have to read about someone who's saying like, yeah, if you cheat and you lie, you're going to end up winning because you got there first?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, you know what? It makes sense that they had sex with their dad. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
It was a different time. Everyone had sex with their dad. What?
Yeah.
So much of it is just like, well, if you believe that the Lord is looking out for you, couldn't he have found a better way to do it?
Yeah. Like, why didn't God create like just a bunch of people?
Yeah.
Why just 2? Why not like just create a society?
Yeah.
And then let them fuck.
Our bloodline will be gone. It was like, will it? It seems like you're kind of panicking and just going for it. Maybe in like a month you'll meet another guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you have to have sex with your dad? Wow, the Bible. Cool. And they say that you shouldn't have relationships outside of marriage or blah, 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 sanctity of marriage, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'm not seeing that so far.
It has... I said this recently, and I've got some pushback, but the Bible does not say to not have sex before marriage. It never says it.
Or it seems to imply to have multiple marriages.
Yeah. Oh, the battery's going to die. We love you all. You're the best. Thanks for watching.
Catch you on the flip-flop. Bye.
Work, Sky Moon.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.